Okay, so get this.
Hmm.
Scientists are finding that some cells, they actually keep growing.
Wow.
Even after the organism, like a body they're part of, has died.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, and we're diving deep into 2 articles all
Ah,
about this today.
right.
And what this, like, postmortem cellular resilience could mean,
Yeah.
especially for veterinary medicine.
Interesting.
This isn't zombie stuff,
Right.
but it's getting close.
It really is interesting what this challenges.
Yeah.
Is our whole idea of death as like a sudden shutdown.
Oh.
There's lingering energy there. Maybe even a chance to like harness these processes for things like regeneration.
So one article describes these glial cells
Okay.
in human brains still growing like up to a full day after death.
Wow.
And then there's like the muscle stem cells in mice and sheep cells.
Okay.
They can be cultured long after the animals are gone.
Huh.
So life finds a way,
Right.
even when we think it's over.
Exactly. And the time frames vary too. Which kind of highlights the different ways cells react after organismal death. But it's more than just surviving.
Right.
There's potential for something much bigger.
Okay.
Scientists took skin cells from dead frog embryos and created Xenobots.
Xenobots.
Yeah,
Those are like the tiny biological robots, right?
essentially. Yeah.
But made from dead cells.
When they moved and self-repaired.
Really?
Like behaviors no one expected.
Wow.
Then they did it with human lung cells.
Oh, wow.
They made what they call Anthrobots.
Okay.
And they showed potential for repairing nerve damage.
That's incredible.
It's wild.
So we're kind of blurring the line between life and death here.
It seems that way.
If it works with frogs and humans, what about applying this to animals,
Right.
especially in veterinary medicine,
Yeah.
where like regeneration and reproduction are so key?
That's where in vitro gametogenesis comes in, or IVG.
IVG.
Yeah, creating sperm and egg cells in the lab from stem cells
Okay.
without needing a living animal. It's got huge implications.
Okay, hold on. This is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Imagine boosting breeding programs with tons of gametes
Right?
from like the best animals.
Yeah.
And we could even save endangered species
Uh-huh.
by making a genetic backup from stored cells.
Oh, wow.
No more reproductive dead ends.
And it's not just about quantity.
Right.
Think about overcoming infertility in valuable animals.
Okay.
Or even accelerating research on animal diseases. IVG could change everything about how we approach animal health.
But isn't this super complex?
It can be, yeah.
Every animal is different.
Right.
Making IVG work reliably must be a huge challenge.
Yeah, you're right. Those are important considerations.
Yeah.
Ensuring animal welfare while pursuing these advances is crucial. And technically, yeah, getting IVG to work reliably in different species
Right.
is a major hurdle, but the potential benefits are too significant to ignore.
So death might be more of a process than a switch.
Interesting.
And these cells could have like a second life,
Wow.
even impacting veterinary medicine in ways we never imagined.
Yeah,
It feels like we're on the edge of something massive here.
we are. Yeah, it really does feel like we're on the cusp of a revolution in veterinary medicine. And the potential extends beyond just IVG.
Okay.
Remember those Anthrobots we talked about?
Yeah.
The ones made from human lung cells?
Yeah, the ones that could actually repair cell damage and even neural injuries.
Exactly.
That was mind-blowing.
It was pretty wild.
So what does that have to do with animals?
Well, imagine applying that same technology to veterinary medicine.
Okay.
Think about treating spinal cord injuries in dogs or cats, or even addressing neurodegenerative diseases in horses.
Wait, are you saying we could potentially use anthrobots to treat animals?
It's a possibility.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
But how would that even work?
Well, it's still early days.
Right.
But the idea is that these biobots could be programmed to target specific areas of damage in the body and deliver therapeutic agents or even stimulate regeneration.
Wow.
It's like having microscopic surgeons working at a cellular level.
That's straight out of science fiction.
I know, right?
And it gets to the heart of what we're talking about.
Yeah,
This amazing potential for regenerative veterinary medicine.
exactly. And let's not forget about IVG.
Right.
The implications for animal breeding and conservation are huge.
Yeah.
Imagine being able to preserve the genetic legacy of endangered species by creating a biobank of stem cells.
It's like having a genetic safety net for those species on the brink.
Exactly.
We could essentially create a backup copy of their DNA ready to be used if needed.
Exactly. And we could do so much more than just preserve.
Go.
Think about the possibilities for improving livestock production. We could select for desirable traits, enhance disease resistance, and even potentially reduce the reliance on antibiotics.
So IVG could be a game changer for food security and sustainability too.
Absolutely.
It's incredible to think about the ripple effects this technology could have.
Yeah.
But let's face it, we're talking about tinkering with the very building blocks of life here.
We are.
There have to be some pretty big challenges to overcome.
You're absolutely right. The ethical considerations alone are significant.
Yeah.
We need to ensure that any applications of this technology are done responsibly
Right.
and with the well-being of the animals as a top priority.
We can't just blindly charge ahead without considering the potential risks and unintended consequences.
Yeah, we have to be careful.
It's a lot of responsibility.
It is, and from a technical standpoint, there are hurdles as well.
Okay.
IVG is incredibly complex,
Uh-huh.
and each animal species presents unique challenges.
Right.
What works for a frog might not work for a horse.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all solution.
Yep.
We're talking about years, maybe even decades, of research and development
Yeah.
before we see these technologies being widely applied in veterinary medicine.
That's true, but the potential benefits are so significant that the research is absolutely worth pursuing.
Yeah.
We have a responsibility to explore every avenue that could improve animal health and well-being.
It's exciting and a little bit daunting at the same time.
I agree.
But it feels like we're standing on the edge of a new frontier in veterinary medicine.
We are.
Speaking of new frontiers,
Mm-hmm.
the research also mentions the potential for using stem cells from deceased animals
Yeah.
to create new tissues and organs.
Yes, that's another fascinating area of exploration.
It is.
Imagine being able to create new organs in the lab for transplantation.
Yeah.
Eliminating the need for organ donors and reducing the risk of rejection.
So instead of relying on chance and availability, we could essentially grow custom-made organs for animals in need.
Exactly.
That could be a game changer for treating organ failure and other life-threatening conditions.
It could indeed, and it speaks to the incredible potential of regenerative medicine to not only treat diseases, but to extend lifespans and improve the overall quality of life for animals.
This all circles back to that initial mind-blowing fact that cells can have a life beyond the organism they were part of.
Right.
It's like nature has a built-in mechanism for renewal and second chances.
And it's up to us as scientists and as a society to explore those mechanisms responsibly
Yeah.
and harness their power for good.
Well, we've certainly uncovered a treasure trove of possibilities in this deep dive.
We have.
But before we get too carried away with all the potential,
Right?
it's important to remember that these are still early days.
That's a good point. We need to temper our enthusiasm with a healthy dose of caution and a commitment to ethical research practices.
Right.
The future of veterinary medicine is bright,
Yeah.
but it's up to us to ensure that we navigate these advancements responsibly.
And speaking of the future, what are some of the key areas you think researchers will be focusing on in the coming years? What are the next big hurdles to overcome?
Well, there are so many exciting avenues to explore.
Yeah.
Refining IVG for different species is a big one. We need to understand the unique biological pathways involved in each animal
Right.
to make it work effectively and safely.
It's like creating a personalized recipe for each species.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can't just use the same ingredients and expect the same results.
Right. And then there's the challenge of scaling up production.
Right.
If we want to make IVG a viable option for widespread use, we need to find ways to produce gametes in larger quantities and at a lower cost.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's not enough to just prove that it works in the lab.
Right.
We need to make it practical and accessible for veterinarians and breeders out in the field.
Absolutely.
What about those anthrobots? Are there specific challenges in applying that technology to animals?
Absolutely. Animal bodies are different from human bodies.
Right.
And those differences need to be accounted for. We need to ensure that these biobots can navigate the unique anatomy and physiology of each species and that they target the right cells and tissues.
It's almost like designing a GPS system for these tiny robots.
Yeah.
Guiding them to their destination within the animal's body.
Right.
And then there's the whole issue of biocompatibility.
Right.
We need to make sure that these biobots are safe for animals and that their bodies don't reject them.
That's a crucial point. We need to conduct rigorous safety testing and develop ways to minimize the risk of adverse reactions. And of course, we can't forget about the ethical considerations that underpin all of this research.
Yeah, you're right. It's not just about the scientific advancements. It's about using those advancements responsibly and ensuring that they benefit both animals and humans in the long run.
Exactly. We need to have open and transparent conversations
Right.
about the potential risks and benefits of these technologies, involve the public in the decision-making process, and create regulatory frameworks that prioritize animal welfare and ethical research practices.
This deep dive has been a real eye-opener.
It has.
We started with this crazy idea of cells having a second life after death.
Right.
And ended up exploring a whole new world of possibilities for regenerative veterinary medicine.
It's amazing.
It's both exhilarating and a little bit overwhelming.
It is, but I think that's the hallmark of truly groundbreaking science. It challenges our assumptions. It pushes the boundaries of what we thought was possible and forces us to grapple with complex ethical questions.
Right.
And ultimately, it has the potential to transform the world around us for the better.
It's like we're on the verge of a paradigm shift in how we approach animal health.
I think so.
We're moving from a reactive approach, treating diseases after they occur, to a more proactive approach focusing on prevention, regeneration, and even enhancement.
And that's an incredibly exciting prospect.
It is.
The future of veterinary medicine is brimming with possibilities. And I, for one, can't wait to see what unfolds in the years to come.
We'll certainly be keeping a close eye on these developments.
Please do.
And for our listeners who want to delve deeper into this fascinating world of postmortem cellular resilience and its implications for veterinary medicine, we'll be sure to include links to the source articles in our show notes.
It's definitely worth exploring further.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe one of our listeners will be inspired to make the next groundbreaking discovery in this field.
And on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey of scientific exploration.
My pleasure.
We'll be back next week with another fascinating topic, so be sure to tune in.